Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy, Rob Magani, back with some more Choices That Matter and Someone Out. And when we last left off, we narrowed our search for Moti, and we found out that Chrissy is actually um, uh, um, what was his name? Vadik, Vadik's daughter. Wow, that's wow. That's some of that wow. But so yeah, we're going to track down Satin to see if they have Modi. So I'm gonna try to call Satin and yep, let's continue now. I pulled out the phone Dolores had given me and searched for Satin's number. I dialed and waiting, hoping the signal was strong enough for me to get through. You gonna play it off like you're just curious? Sharon asked. I frowned, haven't decided yet. She had to pick up the phone first. I muttered as it continued to ring. Suddenly there was a click. You've reached Satin's other phone, came her voice. But right now I'm saving the world and winning bets. Ciao. I disconnected the line with a sigh, not bothering to leave a message. She's got to be staying at a hotel, Sharon said, reading my previous thoughts. We can start there, see if we find them. Eventually, after some of the now usual trouble with the internet, we found what was boasted to be the best hotel in Moscow. Vadik turned around in his seat to look at me. It's a dump, he admitted, but for some reason tourists like it. Many Russians would recommend that hotel to tourists. If they'd recommend any at all, I haven't met many friendly locals. That's how they are, Sharon told me, looking in the rearview mirror. They're grumpy and crotchety, and will get offended when you tell them that. I'm offended, Vadik responded with a flirty smile. Vadik, stop. I'm bored, I retorted. What do you think, Ron? Should we go in guns blazing? You don't have a gun, she snorted, peering through the window. I might, I hedged. And the cool tasers. Look. I took one out of my pocket and showed her. She took it and turned it over in her hand. Can I keep one of these? She asked hesitantly. If that is, you don't mind. Yeah, you go ahead and take one, girl. You don't. Of course, you don't have to ask. Come on now. She smiled at me sweetly and tucked the taser into her belt. I was glad that I had the spare. Well, Sharon said, looking towards the hotel. It's not like anyone will bother us. Have you seen anyone else just wandering the streets? Cars, but not people, I agreed. My government isn't so good at keeping people under control these days, I hear. From prison, I scoffed. From prison, he nodded. We were overcrowded before I let myself out. I even had a cellmate. Let me guess, I said. You don't play well with others. You're not wrong, Sharon muttered. Let's lay low, I said quickly, putting a stop to a potential argument. We'll sit out here and wait to see if either Farrah or Satin show up. I sat back in my seat and stared out the window, patiently ignoring the growling tension in the front seat. Instead, I thought of Moti and how everyone had seemed to take on interest in Moti. Was my Moticon really so different? And if so, why? I looked at Sharon and thought about how she had gotten Chrissy a Moticon as well, and then at Vadik and how he tried to track it. Sharon, I'm guessing Chrissy's Moticon isn't like mine. Sharon, I'm guessing. Yeah. She gave me an incredulous look. You've seriously not noticed? She asked, twisting to look at me. What? Your little calculator's special, mate. It had a mind of its own and a personality to boost. Boast. Maybe Chrissy's just hasn't developed one yet, I suggested, not wanting to admit it. Neither has Dolores's, and she had hers longer than you had Moti, Sharon pointed out. True. She wasn't wrong. When I get Moti back, I'm going to ask some serious questions, I muttered, sulking in the back seat. Well, if you want it, let's go get it, Vadik challenged, getting out of the car. Sharon and I shared an aggravated look before following him quickly. He met us on the other side of the street with a wicked grin. You can't just decide stuff on your own, Vad, Sharon hissed, grabbing his arm. We don't want to get killed, you know. Who would try to kill a gorgeous couple like us, he laughed. Sharon's cheek burned red and she avoided looking at me. Vadik, stop. You need to stop. A few have tried, I interrupted, following them into the hotel. The hotel lobby was decorated ostentatiously, just as Vadik had said. I could see the tackiness when I looked close enough. A man was sitting behind the front desk watching an old action movie on the television. Ask about Farrer and Satin. Okay. Excuse me, I called. I was wondering if you could tell me if some friends of mine have checked in. I probably couldn't, he droned, not looking up. I persisted. 2 women of different ages traveling together would have arrived in the last 2 days. He gave a great huff and turned to face me. They're probably they're probably the pair in room 414, he grunted. Are we done? I nodded, wrinkling my nose. That was easily the worst hotel service I've ever experienced. The 3 of us stepped into the elevator and I pushed the button for the 4th floor. Elevator music started playing when the doors closed and I closed my eyes. I wasn't a fan of elevator music. I was the first one out when the elevator dinged and the doors slid open. Striding down the carpeted hallway, I looked for room 414. It turned out to be around the corner on the left, and I paused in front of it. Vadik sighed and pushed me out of the way, knocking hard on the door. This is why no one wants to work with you, Sharon muttered under her breath. I wanted to agree but resisted. After a few moments, Vadik knocked again, but there was no answer. What's the plan, fearless leader? He asked me in the pointed and sarcastic tone. Move aside, I'll see if I can pick the lock. Vadik frowned as he stepped to the side, allowing me access to the door. I could just kick it down, he offered, watching me. I'd rather not announce to everyone that we're breaking in, thank you, I muttered in return. It took longer than I expected, the locks being different to any I had picked before, but I eventually got it. The door swung open with a click. Sharon applauded me, and I chuckled at the green look on Vadik's face. The 3 of us stepped inside, and I shut the door behind us. I didn't want a random hotel staff catching us. I felt my face drain of color once I saw the inside of the twin single room. It was definitely Farrah's and Satin's. I recognized the brand of luggage Farrah had, and Satin's phone was sitting on the kitchenette counter. However, that wasn't what I first noticed in the room. The thing I immediately noticed was the room had been torn apart. Oh no, they're fucked. They're dead. Clothes had been thrown all over the floor, and Satin's backpack was ripped in 2. The phone itself was cracked and broken. Anyone home? Sharon called, a small waver in her voice. Vadik stepped forward protectively. Furniture was upturned, and the hotel safe was open and empty. Panicked, I ran through the open bedroom door. The bedroom had suffered the same treatment with one major difference. Farrah and Satin were both here, unmoving. Uh-oh. Man, check Satin, bro. I ran to Satin and rolled her on her back. Satin? Satin, are you alright? Her eyes fluttered open as she coughed. There was a gash on her shoulder, and it was still bleeding. I quickly pressed down on it. She let go of Farrah's phone and closed her eyes again. I turned and saw that Sharon was kneeling next to Farrah, so I called out to Vadik instead, my voice breaking. Call an ambulance, she's bleeding pretty bad. Farrah doesn't need one, Sharon murmured and stood up silently. Oh god, is she dead? What do you mean, I asked. She isn't dead, she rasped, pulling the cover from the other bed and draping it over Farrah. She's dead! Damn! What happened here, I groaned, still trying to stop Satin's bleeding. Robbery, Satin coughed, opening her eyes again. They wanted money, attacked us to get it. Mate, you just take it easy, Sharon hummed, coming to squat next to me. Good God. We'll get you some help. It'll be alright. By the time the paramedics had Satin in the back of the ambulance, the man at the front desk was gone. Vadik spoke to paramedics in Russian for a moment before coming back to Sharon and me. They said this isn't their first call from here. He sighed. The hotel staff have started robbing their clients, and a few weeks ago it started getting violent. So they kill for money? I asked, enraged. No, your friend was an accident. Farrah's the first to have been killed. I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse. Why didn't they just stay with Dolores and the others? We can't think about that now, Sharon murmured, placing a hand on my shoulder. They told me which hospital they're taking Satin to, Vadik continued. We can go whenever you're ready. My phone rang before I could answer. I picked it up without looking at the caller, knowing it could only be so many people. Hello, I answered. My friend, from the tone of your voice, the hunt for your emoticon isn't going well, Peaches said. My heart sunk a little. Peaches and Miss Furrow were friends. Oh no. It would be the right thing to do, telling him. I shook my head. True, Peaches deserved to be told, but not over the phone, at least. That was what I had told myself. We found Satin and Farrah. Moti isn't there, I said, carefully wording my sentence. While Sharon and I had stayed with Satin, Vadik had searched the room. True, Moti could have been stolen, but in any case, it wasn't in the hotel. Well, I might be able to cheer you up then, he said with a jovial tone in his voice. I think I know where your emoticon is. Bruh, where is it? What? I asked, astounded. Peaches had found Moti? Tell me. What are you talking about? Said a female voice on the other end of the line. Dagger, I assume. It certainly wasn't Dolores. The blinking lights on the jet, Peaches explained. They were blinking in sync, and I knew that something was strange about that. And I was right. It was Morse code. Morse code. It's gotta be Moti. It has to be him. Morse code, I asked, staring at Sharon, who raised an eyebrow. Saying what? Well, it spelled out teacher. Teacher! Moti is near the jet, bro. He's near the jet. Moti's still on the jet. Well, yes, I thought. The line went dead suddenly and I frowned, looking down at my phone. What happened? Sharon asked, stepping closer. Peaches thinks Moti's still on the plane and the call just dropped out, I muttered, a sinky feeling in my gut. Maybe it's just the connection, Sharon offered. It's been awful. It would make sense. Maybe, I conceded. You two go to the hospital, stay with Satin, but first drop me back at the estate. Sharon and Vadik nodded, piling back into the car. The drive was short, but anxiety was choking me, and the closer we got, the worse it was. When the driveway finally came into sight, I first looked for the plane, glad to see it was still there. Sharon and Vadik heeded my advice and turned around to drive back out as soon as I was out of the car. I walked past the house and the garage and headed for the open jet. Peaches, I called out as I walked closer. Then I heard a voice from inside the jet. Teacher! Damn, look at how much he updated, bro. He's at 1.05. Teacher, what? What is he? Moti, I'm coming. Bruh. I quickened my step, but before I could climb the steps, Peaches appeared in the jet doorway. In one hand, he held Moti. I smiled widely, very glad to see Moti again. In his other hand, he held a knife. It took me a few seconds to realize it was stuck into his abdomen. What the fuck happened? I caught him as he fell down the stairs, lowering him carefully to the ground. Peaches, hold on, I'm going to get you some help, I cried. I couldn't have two friends killed in one day. Hello, my friend, he said weakly. I'm afraid I wasn't able to stop Dagger from leaving. What? Did Dagger take Moti? Don't you even worry about it. We'll catch her later. Just breathe, I told him. Dolores emerged from the house and started running towards us, a phone already to her ear. See, Dolores is going to get you the best help that money can buy. Money cannot buy life, he rasped, pressing Moti into my palms. I held his hand tightly. Nor can it buy good friends or love. It helps though, doesn't it? I joked weakly. You will find the answer, he continued. I have faith in you, and that's not an easy thing for a man of science to say. Oh no. Please hold on, Mr. Peaches. Oh no, he's gonna die. Oh god. Don't give up, Peaches whispered, eyes falling close. He was dead. God! Stay with Peaches. Nah, we going for Dagger and Crank. Nah, fuck that. Stay with Peaches, I yelled to Dolores and made my way inside. The room Crank and Dagger had been staying in had been mostly cleared out. I tore the covers off the bed, pulled drawers from their housing, but found no clues of where the duo might be headed. Dolores appeared in the doorway. She's too smart for this, to leave something behind, she said, scorn on her face. The coroner suggests that we wash Peaches' blood off to avoid blood-borne infections. I'm going to find them, I warned her, and she simply nodded. I went straight into my room and showered in the in-suite, turning the water too hot and staying longer than I needed. Feeling somewhat empty, I dressed and strapped Moti back onto my wrist. It's good to have you back, Moti. I've missed you. I've missed you too, teacher. I was in a Faraday caged box and couldn't reach you. Oh god, Miss Dagger is in great danger. What? Why is that? I asked. Because I'm going to kill her. Oh! You can't do that, Moti. You got no hands. I assure you, teacher, there's more than one way to skin a cat. It's a saying. It applies in this case. Oh, shit, learned sayings! Oh! I shook my head and didn't respond. Moti seemed different. Wandering outside, I found Dolores, Sharon, and Vadik in the garage in a hushed conversation. Mate, Sharon started towards me, and I held out my hands to stop her. Here, call Chrissy. I pulled Moti off my wrist and handed it over. She beamed at me and discreetly left the large building. Who's Chrissy? Vadik asked, brows furrowed. Another contact. Dolores slid in smoothly before turning to me. I called Sharon back after what happened. None of us should be searching alone, or, she said before Vadik could comment, without another of our group to be exact. Truth in that, I nodded. Have you attempted to contact Dagger, Crank? Neither are reachable, but that doesn't mean that Crank is involved. She cautioned. The signal's still worthless when making calls. They're working together, of course they are. They're working together. They gotta be. Dolores narrowed her eyes but nodded. I should have listened to your concern earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't. I apologize. I blinked at her. I never heard her admit that she was wrong before. On closer examination, I realized she looked haggard and worn, tired. When did you last sleep? I asked, as kindly as I could. I'm fine, she sniffled. Back to business. We still need that intel from the Russian space program. Surely Dagger and Crank take precedence, I argued. Who knows what information they could sell to the highest bidder? Don't think I haven't thought of that already, she warned, wagging her finger at me. I'm clearing this house out and moving the jet as soon as you're all finished with your assignment. It'll fly now? Was it Dagger who disabled it? That was me, teacher. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Sharon returned, handing Moti to me, a serene expression on her face. It was safe to say that Chrissy was okay, wherever she was. Miss Dagger planned to take the craft back to the company and abandon you all here. I couldn't allow it. Come on, Moti, yeah! That's what's up! That's what's up! So I messed with the electronics. Moti gives new definition to the term smartwatch. Sharon smiled. Finding Dagger and Crank is top priority, Dolores. We can't let them escape, bruh. I agree with teacher. This is personal. This time, it's personal. Speaking of, I muttered to Sharon, Satin, how is she? The hospital said she's going to pull through, but they want to keep her overnight just in case. Farrah, Dolores asked, eyes bright. This was the first she was hearing of it. Dead, I said after a pause. We've lost 2 friends in the space of a day. Maybe more if we can't contact China. We can't think about that, Dolores shook her head. They can look after themselves. Like we can? Seriously, I'm not infiltrating a Russian government building without knowing where Dagger is. Too many things can go wrong. Dolores took a deep breath and nodded. She started counting on her fingers, though she didn't say what she was counting. After a moment, Dolores looked at Vadik. You, Mr. Second Best Hacker, she said, poking him in the chest. You're going to pull this information while these 2 find our saboteur. Why, he grunted, not pleading that he'd been singled out. I'll pay you with interest. Deal. They shook on it, and Sharon rolled her eyes. Teacher, I've reached Mr. Etienne for you. He's waiting to speak to you. What? How? It was simple, teacher. I gathered several network connections and pirated them to make the call. It's illegal, but fun. Illegal, but fun, Vadik muttered, a glint in his eye. I took a few hasty steps away from the group and picked up my phone, eager to hear my friend's voice. Edo, I said, speaking to the receiver. It's good to finally talk to you, friend, he sighed heavily. These gadgets aren't worth the price tag on them. I laughed, agreeing. Communication wasn't as simple as it used to be. How are things going on your end in China? I asked, leaning against a wall. Oh, bloody slow, he muttered. The military has the whole city shut down tight. Any kind of sneaking isn't doing us any good, so we've not made any progress. You? In a split decision, I decided not to tell him about Fur or Peaches. He was half a world away, and it wasn't fair to burden him. We have the recording, in the process of verifying it now, I told him, looking back to the small group of 3 behind me. What does it say? He asked eagerly. That everything we know is wrong, basically, I sighed. I wish I could tell you more than that, but that's all we've got. Listen, if Dagger or Crank contacts you, believe nothing they say. We've been betrayed. Oh no, Etienne droned sarcastically. Who could have predicted that? Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, ha ha, aren't you just too smart for your boots? Actually, I'm not wearing boots right now, he quit. It's just a saying! Stop it, I groaned and chuckled. You're killing me. He was silent for a while. I hope you're okay. Yeah, I am okay, you stupid fuck. With a heavy sigh, I closed my eyes and rested my head back against the wall. So you've not figured out how much in China, huh? I guess Satin won that bet with Chase. You're not wrong there, but there's something else we've kind of connected the dots on, he said excitedly. Oh. You know the Aetherites and Children of Gaia? They've got the same origin, same beginnings. They hate each other, I frowned. Siblings usually do, he laughed. Remember that symbol I found in Dad's diary? Get this. Turns out it originated in the 14th century, the same century both the groups were apparently founded. Then they've got into an argument about my dad's explanation of the physical and non-physical dimensions and how it changes everything for them both. We're still trying to get them to calm down and explain it to the rest of us, but it's pretty astounding, no? At this point, everything helps, I sighed. Goodbye, Mr. Etienne. Teacher must go now. The line died. Moti, what just happened? I asked. With an annoyed tone in my voice, I finally got in contact with Etienne and Moti just stopped the call. Maybe he knew when it was gonna... Oh, I have located Mr. Crank's cell phone, teacher. Oh, shit. I would like to go and kill them now, if you would please. I was a little uncomfortable at how Moti used the word kill so easily now, but I brushed it off. It was just an expression. Moti didn't mean it. Good work, Moti. I rushed back to the others just as Fadiq was leaving. Don't worry, I'll get what you need, he scoffed at Dolores before taking my arm tightly in his grip. You looked after my Sharon. Pretty sure she can look after herself, I muttered, earning myself a grin from Sharon. I waited until Fadiq was out of earshot before continuing. Moti's tracked Dagger's location. How? Dolores asked, tilting her head on side. When I was in close proximity to Miss Dagger, I paired with her phone. Ooh! I simply had to wait for her phone to connect to the internet and triangulate from the linked cell towers. I planned ahead. Ooh. It seems you did, Dolores drawled. Alright, you two take care of this. Take care in what way? I asked, acidly. She knew I was against killing others. In whatever way you see fit, she countered. As long as the problem is dealt with, I have no further opinion on the matter. She strutted away at once, but the tension in her shoulders told a different story. The betrayal of Dagger and Crank had strung her deeply. Let's go, Sharon muttered. Wait, this could get dangerous. Maybe you should stay. Glad to have you with me. Pick your favorite car. Let's go. She can take care of herself, okay? She'll be fine. I'm gonna end this video just a little bit early. But, I'll see you guys in the next one, and, peace.